Hello and welcome back. It is Wednesday, May 29th. We are here to do rope release skills today. So grab a rope today. I'm going to be using this rope. We got a freestyle beaded rope. Personally, big fan of beaded rope for releases. And I don't even think that's just a personal preference. I think that's just what's best for release skills. You get the most control with these. A little slower, you get to feel it out a bit better. And a lot of those speed ropes can be too light for these skills. The wire ropes, of course, really great for going fast, but not great for these tricks. So, before we get into any tricks today, we're going to go ahead and warm up with one of our older workouts, one of the first ones, a beginner one. So if you're brand new, no worries. If you've been here before, you might recognize this one. Let's do it together, get warm, and then throw some handles around. All right. Oh, one more thing. Normally, when we do this, I do this inside in a very small space. You don't need a lot of space. Today, because we're going to be doing release skills and handles are probably going to fly all over the place, I recommend you use a little more space than you might have used in the past. Okay. Or at least just move away from the TV, you know. Alright, here we go. We're going to get things started with 2-foot jumps. Jumping with the feet together. Just the classic jump. Put your rope behind you. And here we go. Remember, if you make any mistakes during this, you just get right back into it. Make sure your shoulders are relaxed. Keep your hands down. Starting off in good form is a good idea. 10 more seconds of this one. If you've done this one a bunch of times by now, I want you to go a little faster as we go through this workout. We're resting. Go ahead and stretch out those legs a little bit. Lean forward, make sure you're getting those hamstrings ready. We got side to side coming up next. Jumping from one side to another. You don't need to go super far. Once again, just shifting that weight from one side to another. Starting just a second here, rolling out my ankles, getting ready for a whole bunch of jumps. And here we go. Once again, reminding you, even for side to side, you don't need to jump high, right? For all of these tricks, you don't need to jump high. When you jump really high like this, you get tired really fast. Not as good for your joints. Just smaller jumps, that's all you need. And I'm sure you'll feel the workout just fine. As you probably have already noticed, two steps into this. And time, nice work. That was side to side. All right, quick rest. Coming up next, we're going to do the jumping on one leg. This one is just for 15 seconds. Whichever leg you choose is fine. I'm going to hold my knee up in front of me this time, just like this, make it a little more challenging. You can have your foot kind of hanging back like this too. Whatever works for you, it's going to be fine with me, as long as you try your best to make it to the end of these 15 seconds. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Okay. Just a couple more seconds. This one's really fast. Already past halfway. 3, 2, 1, time. Nice work. All right, get ready because the other leg's coming up quick. Getting started in about 10 seconds. Those one leg jumps are always harder than they look. All right, other side. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Jumping on the other leg. And today we're not doing a huge workout. Last time we did this one, we did it 2 times through because we got a lot of release skills to go through. So, nice job. All right, last part of the workout. We've got the 1-minute jump. Always the hardest part, always my favorite. Remember, you can mix in any skills you'd like. It's just important that you jump for 1 minute. If you're looking for some ideas, you can try a jump straddle, where you put your feet together and up, like this. And shoulder check. Are your shoulders in the right spot? Are they relaxed? Are your hands low? Make sure you're not turning your hands too big like this either, right? Make sure it's really just in the wrist. Refine that movement, make it as small as you can. If you're looking for more ideas, you can try jog step, alternating feet. You can try going a little faster. You're over halfway done. You can mix in some crosses, crossing your arms. You can do, from our footwork tutorial last week, we did jump, heel, jump, place your heel, jump, and place your heel. Okay, almost done. And that was the 1 minute jump. If you need a second, take a rest, pause the video if you'd like. We are live, but you're more than welcome to take as much time as you need. So, today is the release skill special day, where we're gonna go through a bunch of the basics for release skills. We're gonna go through floaters, we're gonna go through the mic. We had some requests for Mamba last week, so we're gonna go through them as well. And all these release skills, they're my favorite. It's those tricks that look like magic where the handle goes next to you and you catch it again. And a lot of people are attracted to jump rope, I think, from seeing a video of a release skill, especially in the last couple of years as jump rope has been growing. So, now that I've caught my breath from our good workout, I'm gonna get things started with a floater. This is the most basic release skill, I think, okay? It's the ones where the handle is gonna float in the air next to you, and then you just grab it again. Now, the secrets to the floater. First, I want everybody to try just jumping as slow as you can without losing the shape of the rope. So think about what that means and what that looks like. Jumping as slow as you can without losing the shape of the rope. So the shape of the rope is that nice curve like this, right? Just one big U shape. If you jump really slow, see how it starts to kind of twist and bend funny? See if you can try to keep it in that U shape as you jump. Notice what things you might do, right? You might move your arms a lot more, and that's totally okay for this trick, right? Normally I say keep them slow, keep them here. But for this one, when you slow down, you bring your hands up with it, and it'll slow down the rope without losing that shape. If it's hitting you in the back of the head, it might be a little too slow. Just keep making that shape nice and tight, okay? Then, the other secret is maintaining the shape by keeping the handles on the same horizontal plane. So think about what that means. As we release the handle, I throw this one up in the air. My other hand that is holding the rope is not going to keep turning, right? Because if it keeps turning, the handle's gonna fly away. It's not going to stop turning either, because when you stop turning, that also makes the rope change shape and makes the handle fly away. To make it float, you move your handle next to that other floating handle, right? So you move your hand with the rope to match the height of that floating handle, to match whatever's going on there, right? So if you're just kind of dropping it real low, real fast this way, your other hand's doing the same thing. If you're throwing it up high, your other hand needs to do the same. Because if it doesn't match, that's what makes the handle flick away from you. So, what I want you to try, and this is a really fun drill to get started, once you kind of got comfortable with just a little release or two, I want you to try to tap your head and catch the rope again. Tap your head and catch the rope again. And you can try it on both sides. Here, you can even try it at the same time. Uh-oh. Just like that, right? So there's all sorts of variations you can try. And that is what I was talking about when I said we might need more space today, because the ropes are going to be flying everywhere. So, that's that. One hand release, one at a time. You can try bring your hand down and back up. I think that's a little trickier. Right, that would be the next step. Try to give yourself a tap and catching it again. And that is the basic floater. But now here's the fun part. Pretty much every skill that we've learned and we ever will learn, you can add a floater as some form of variation to it. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Last week, or a couple weeks ago, we did the cross. We'll start there. If you let go of the bottom hand, you can catch it again on the top like this. A lot of the times people actually learn this floater first, where you cross, you let go of the bottom hand, and then you catch it on the top. This one is a personal favorite of mine, especially to teach, because I find that people can learn it relatively quick compared to other jump rope skills, so they have a lot of fun with that one. So give that one a try. Remember, you're letting go of the hand that's on the bottom and catching on the top, like this. Then, the same rules apply though, like we talked about before. If the handle's flying away from you, that's because you're either turning it too much or too little. Remember, you should be matching. Where that floating handle is, you've got to be matching that. Imagine that horizontal line and keep those handles in the same line so the rope doesn't change shape. And now, what I was going to say earlier, last week we did EB, we did everything EB, we learned all sorts of tips and tricks with EB. We can also do the floater with EB. If you can get it going really up and down and really slow right here, at the peak moment, you can let go of that hand that's behind the back, and then catch it again in the front there. And all of these floaters, if you're wondering when to let go, I will typically go like as it's passing by my ears, approaching the top of my head. You can go even later than that. Whew. With a lot of these behind the back skills, sometimes I'll even try to wait and see the handle before I let go. So, the EB version. And if you're finding, if you're stuck at any one of these parts as we go, feel free to let me know in the comments. I can try to go over it a little more, give you a couple more tips. Now, we're going to go through another release skill. Let's do a couple more floaters actually. Another one that we can try. Ready? This one is going to feel a little more complicated at first, but I think you're going to love it when it works. You're going to jump over the rope and spin to the right. Okay, I'll show you the trick. It looks like this. So you jump over the rope, spin to the right, and your left hand goes behind the back. Jump over the rope, spin to the right, left hand goes behind the back. As you go, as soon as you see the rope, watch, my hand that goes behind the back is coming up all the way to my armpit so that the rope kind of finds the pocket, and I'll show you this way. It finds a little pocket right here at the armpit. Now, before you practice the release, try to keep the rope going on that up and down plane. If it starts to spin sideways too much, this trick isn't going to work as well. So keep your rope going up and down, right? You're jumping over it, hands going behind the back. You're watching the rope come up and around back to the front. This time, when you are facing back, try to look and see your handle underneath of your armpit. As soon as you see that handle, you can release and catch it again in the front for this neat 360 floater trick. So we're here, and catch it again. There we go. So we got the open floater, we've got cross, we've got EB, we've got that 360 one, and now I'll show you a couple more ones. Don't worry about these ones today because we haven't even done a lot of these foundational moves yet, but I want you to pick these up so then later we'll combine them. Right, you can do Kruger and Toad and any other crossing skill you can think of. Alright, now another kind of release. If you are in a smaller space like me, you can skip this one. But if you have plenty of room for this one, if you're outside, I want you to give this one a try. You'll take one handle, you throw it behind you. This one, a lot of people call it walk the dog. The rope, the straighter the line, the better it's going to be for this trick. If your rope is real tangled in a mess like this, keep in mind you don't need to like walk over there and move the handle out of the way. All you gotta do is step away from your handle. It'll straighten that line right there. Or you can just try to flick it out a little further. For this trick, what you're gonna do is you're gonna slide the rope the exact opposite direction of where the handle's pointing. You're gonna bring it up and catch it in the front. So one more time, bring that behind you. I slide my hand about the pace as I would rolling a ball across the ground, right? It's about that same motion. And then I'm kind of flicking it up right at the end so you can catch and jump over it. To connect it actually in some jump rope moves, it might look like this. You jump over, drop the handle, you jump over, drop the handle behind you, swing it up, and catch and keep jumping. Very nice. All right, we'll get into it. And it's time for everybody's favorite, the Mick release. The Mick release is the one where you jump and you spin the rope right next to you, catch it, and jump once again. So, to do a Mick release, first we got to talk about what is actually happening during a Mick. Go ahead and place one handle on the ground like this, and make one big loop like this. Now, sometimes when people are trying this, they make a bunch of little loops like this. That's not what we're looking for. One big loop like this. This is generally the feel of a Mick release, right? This big loop. Because look, this is actually the same thing happening next to you during a mick release. Now, there's a couple different methods to get the mick actually started next to you. I think this is the easiest one. You bring the rope over your head, you place the handle on your wrist like this, right? They call it a wrist pop. A lot of people will call it that, where you're pushing through here. And now at this step, the number one thing I see, and actually a good friend, Nate, was just talking about this today online on his jump rope class. People release micks too early most of the time. That's when the handle flies down right on the ground in front of you or smacks the floor. Wait until the rope is naturally going up to let go and push through with your hand. So it's here, it flies out. Now, when I'm teaching mick releases, this is the hardest part, getting that general motion right there. I think a lot of people focus on what it looks like too much, and they're trying to look for the handle. So what I tell people to simplify it is think 1, 2, open, right? So you're spinning across, 1, 2, open, 1, 2, open. Because if you can get that general shape, the catch will come in later, it'll work out. But 1, 2, open. If we can get to that point where the open is starting to happen and there's that moment where the handle is there, that's the secret sauce right there. That's what we need to happen. Because look, if you go like this and you just try to reach in there and catch the handle, there's a whole convoluted mess in there. There's a lot of things going on. It's going to be hard to get the handle. But look, if you open the same time as when you catch, even if you get anything, right? You don't even have to catch the handle. If you catch something, anything, if you hit an object, it's going to be close to the handle because that's all that's left over there. So you do the 1, 2, open, and reach and just grab for anything, because while you're jumping you can adjust, you can fix it, or you might even get it right on the handle. So 1, 2, open, and you're doing the open and the catch at the same time. 1, 2, open. Once again, if the handle is just smacking on the ground right at the beginning like this, and it's not ever getting to that shape, you're letting go too soon. 1, 2, open. Okay. Once you tried it a couple times, if you feel like you're catching it even 50-50, I want you to go for it. 1, 2, jump at the same time. So now we're combining the open, the catch, and the jump. All three at the same time. 1, 2, open. And that is a mick release. There you go, that's all the pieces right there. A couple other tips. A lot of times people will throw the handle away from them, right? And it makes the mick look really cool. It goes pretty far that way. But it's harder to catch it that way because it throws it off when it comes back. I try to release it close to my body, like really close to my body, and then keep the whole thing close, right? So even for variations later, that'll make life easier. Speaking of variations for the mick, if you're practicing that one and you're brand new to it, I want you to keep trying that. You can pause the video right now, take as much time as you want on the mick. I'm just going to go over a couple variations of the mick that you can try in the future. The first one is a mick where you catch it under the leg. So when that handle's coming in, you take the hand that's catching and it goes underneath from the outside of that leg. So go ahead and just do that position once, right? It's not in front of your leg. It's going underneath from the outside. Naturally, when you learn the mick, that's close to where the handle's going to be already. But what you want to do is 1, 2, and you're raising your leg before where the jump would happen. During like the 1, 2, as I'm doing the 2, I'm raising my leg. 1, 2, and then catching here. Because then all you have to do is jump on that bottom leg. 1, 2, and the rope will be out. So 1, 2, catch under the leg and jump. 1, 2, catch under the leg and jump. Very nice. Another variation of the mick, I think this one is a difficult one as well. It's going to be 1, 2, you catch the handle and then cross before it gets to you. So this one is definitely a later down the road version of the mick, right? Because you already want to be catching the handle pretty soon. But as soon as you catch the handle, you cross your hands. And that is the mick to cross. That's a tougher one. Finally, just because we got a request for this one last week, the Mamba. Mamba is a mick release where it goes from one side to the other. I think the best way to learn this one, right, I'll show you first, is one side to the other. Oh, I missed. Try that again. Mick release from one side to the other. There it is. Right, so the Mamba release, the best way to learn it is to start by doing the release out on the other side. So you're still holding it on the same side as your regular Mick, but instead of reaching across your body and turning one to open, you're going to try doing the Mick on the open side. So jump over the rope. As you're landing, reach the handle that releases behind you and throw the handle out on that side. And just try getting those 2 rotations, not across your body, but open like this. 1, 2, right there. So that is like the foundational part of a Mamba, is being able to do the Mick on that open side going forward here and here. Because then, all you have to do is put each of those together, right? You don't even have to worry about catching it on this side yet. Because you can do your regular Mick, where you would go to open, just pull it over a little further, right? And if you've been practicing this one, you got that one down. You're gonna pull it over a little further right to that spot. And then back again, right? So one side here and right back again. One side here and right back again. Whew. And that is the Mamba. I know we just went over like 1,000 tricks, and it's gonna feel like a lot, but I gave you a lot to practice this week. You have all sorts of release skills to try. We did an easier workout to have extra time to do all these. Release skills are my favorite. Once again, if you're trying to do some release skills, I recommend using a rope like this one, a beaded rope. It doesn't need long handles. Most people even prefer short handles for this. So there we go. I'm gonna look at some of these chats right now before we end. Also, next week we're gonna do a double unders workout. So get your wire rope ready. I'm gonna be using a bullet. So one of the Elite Jumps ropes there. Let's see. Here, that's where I'm struggling with the jumping. Yeah, with the jumping, a lot of the times it's just watching the rope, and especially for these release skills, just watching the rope and waiting for that time to jump. Especially because we slow down a lot for a lot of these release skills. If you slow down the rope and then you jump where you normally would, where your hands are, you're going to be too early. So just wait for the rope. Or if it's for the Mick, jump sooner than you think you need to. Let's see, curious of your height and where does your rope come to your height? Here, I can show proportional to my body size here. Let me just get this pause, perfect. So I am 6'2". I wish I could tell you in centimeters off the top of my head, but you'll have to use Google if you are metric system. My rope comes up to about here. I recommend when people are starting, they go a little longer, because a little longer leaves a bit more room for error. But I see a lot of advice online that says up to the elbows or armpits here, or armpits like this. But I think that's too long, because you don't want a ton of space up here. So I think like the center of your chest or even a little lower is a great place to start. So most of the time when I'm helping people make their ropes for the first time, this is about where it goes, maybe a little bit longer. But longer handles help too, so you can shrink the rope and use longer handles. The catch and the jump, yeah, all kind of at the same time for the Mick, but that's the trickiest part there. Well, thanks for sticking around, everybody. Once again, next week we will be doing double unders, 7 p.m. EST. Great work, everyone. I know today was a long one. We will see you next time.